Welcome to Three Guys, One Love. Tonight Jen will have time with each of the three men in attempts to get to know them better and choose one to be her true love.
Tonight I'll be spending time with Aristotle, Levinas, and Kant to get some insight on how they view the social justice of those less fortunate. So far I've really enjoyed my time.
How about we begin with Jen and Aristotle?
So tell me about yourself. What do you do in your spare time?
Well, I highly enjoy reading books and teaching. To me, education is a very important component in our lives.
Why is that?
Intelligence is a significant attribute. It makes society better as a whole.
How do you feel about those who aren't fortunate enough to have an education?
We need to help them achieve it. I believe that everyone must do his or her duty within their community to be happy. Everyone has a teleology or purpose in life, and I just believe that mine is to help those less fortunate. By doing good tasks, I hope to reach happiness in the end. I can't stand to see people discounted and frowned upon in a community, for happiness must be reached together. People who can't fulfill their duty due to poor conditions need help from the community so we can all reach happiness. What about you?
Well, I like to get involved helping families out that have been part of a tragedy that has changed the way they live, such as hurricane survivors. And lately, my focus has been on donating my time to help the families out of victims of the typhoon that had hit the Philippines.
What a catastrophe that was. How the lives of those harmless citizens must have been changed. It's important for us fortunate individuals to make rational decisions and to think logically. We must acknowledge what has happened to these people and take actions with a good mental state that will leave only good consequences. Some of the children who died never got the opportunity to grow into the community and members of our society. It's a tragic situation, so it's helpless people like that I strive to help.
Wow, it's amazing that you want to put so much work and time into helping out others despite how busy you are. What a great influence. Maybe you could join me in counseling the victims of this tragedy. They would really look up to you.
We'll have to arrange something. I've had a really nice evening.
Yeah, me too. See you soon.
Up next, we will tune into the discussion between Jen and Kant.
So tell me about yourself, Kant.
Well, I've recently finished a book, which took me 12 years.
Oh, what's your book about?
Well, it focuses on theoretical and practical reasoning.
What's theoretical and practical reasoning?
Theoretical reasoning is how humans come to know things. Practical reasoning is how humans act not only impulses affected by the laws of nature, but also out of conscious choice based on principles. Think about it as people ought to do.
What do you suppose people ought to do?
I believe people ought to treat others the way they would want to be treated. If you see someone who is in need of help, you should help them because you would want to do the same, wouldn't you? God helps me and gives me the freedom to help others. I feel that when I die, a life beyond God is where I will reach the supreme good. For now, I believe my job on earth is to help those less fortunate by counseling troubled youth. I try to help them to make good choices and start over with their lives based on principles. They must realize that they can make good decisions for themselves and better themselves on their own.
Wow, well there's something we have in common. I think humans are able to make their own decisions and sometimes need the guidance in the direction of the right choices.
Yeah, exactly. There are times though where I feel like people act out because they must have been there, the means instead of the end for someone. They must have been used in their lives at some point, and then felt useless and unloved, leading them to take it out on others with drastic choices. However, ultimately, humans are naturally free to make their own decisions.
Yeah, some scenarios are heart-wrenching. For instance, I've been working with families affected by the typhoon in the Philippines. It's hard seeing people struggle, but we aim to not just provide them with the necessities, but further teach them how to adapt to a new lifestyle and survive on their own. You would really like it. Maybe I could get you involved if you'd be interested.
Sure, I love to try new things and would like to visit somewhere new.
Great, I'll see you soon then.
And lastly, we join Jen and Levinas. Your face looks immaculate tonight.
Thank you, Levinas.
But you know, you don't really need to be wearing any makeup. People use the face to read into our souls, and it's hiding the vulnerability in your face. You don't need to cover up that beautiful face.
Well, thank you. So tell me about yourself, Levinas. What activities do you take part in?
Well, 3 times a week I volunteer at St. Vincent's Kitchen and take some time to talk to some of the visitors. To me, it's an obligation to help the homeless as much as I possibly can.
Why is that?
Well, if you think about it, our society really puts down homeless. We are made to believe that they're simply just lazy or will use our money to buy drugs or alcohol. These stereotypes need to be abolished. Everyone has their own issues and we need to recognize each individual's suffering. Whenever I see a suffering face, I instantly hear a call for help. Our faces are never concealed, making them the most naked part of us. This is why when I see the suffering faces of someone homeless, I am instantly drawn to provide them with hospitality. I'm sorry, I'm going on too much about myself. What about you?
Well, I like to help out too. Right now I'm helping out families affected by the typhoon in the Philippines.
That's a great thing that you can do. How some people can look into the eyes of those suffering individuals and not want to help really upsets me. This makes us see how much more effectiveness is needed towards those less fortunate. No one acknowledges their suffering, which is making the situation harder. Now, I'm not blaming anyone or saying anyone is bad for not helping, but it certainly has shown many of us that we need to take more action into helping the less fortunate.
You're so right. We are all human and need to help each other out. People who are helpless like this really need our help. Anyways, this night has been wonderful, but it has to come to an end.
Thank you for a great time. Who will Jen choose on next week's episode? Will she choose Aristotle, the scholar in pursuit of happiness, Kant, the empathetic writer, or will it be Levinas, the deep acceptor? Tune in next week on the Three Guys, One Love.
Do you think you can tell